Fist flying, no bounds. Podcast kings, we pound for pound. UFC thrills, stills nights get loud. Big EQP, that's how we get down.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GRP. Back at it again on a Thursday, ready to talk about some UFC Fight Night Seattle happening this weekend. What's up, 78 Northwest? Thank you for jumping in. Johnny already in the chat as well. Can't wait for Ian to beat Islam in August. Damn, already calling it, huh? Already calling it. They haven't confirmed that yet. I didn't miss anything, did I? I don't think I missed that yet, but that does sound like what's happening. I did have to go out of town for work. I thought I was gonna still be out of town today, and I was able to get everything done, and I'm back. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy to be here. It's always easier when I don't have to do things remotely. But what up, Infinity? But yeah, I'm glad I got to come back. It wasn't a horrible trip, which is great because it wasn't looking great when I was on my way there. So yeah, that's yeah, Johnny, that's kind of what I thought. I mean, that's kind of what everyone is doing right now. It sounds like that's what's going to happen. But you know, the UFC likes to pull the rug out from under us and do some dumb shit. They've been doing that lately. So before I get too far into things, I do want to give a quick shout out to DJ Infinity in the chat. He just did a badass interview, did a great job with his interview. It's Just Storm is who he interviewed. He's a content creator on YouTube. They have he's a very motivational guy, and he just gets you going. So yeah, Infinity did a great job of throwing together an interview, and it was a good back and forth. It was good information, very motivating. It's just an extension of Storm's channel. You guys can go check him out. It's Just Storm on YouTube, and of course check out DJ Infinity AZ on YouTube as well. Go give him a subscribe and watch his video. Watch his latest video. That interview with Storm was really good. So yeah, go check it out. It's worth it, I promise. Oh, nice. 78 Northwest. That's awesome. So yeah, good stuff there, man. It was definitely motivating to watch that before I jump in here, because sometimes I get a little demotivated, and I'm and I'm just like damn, you know, I'm just not feeling it today, but I got to do the show. I have to do the show. And I always feel better once I get in here and get started, but sometimes it's tough. And sometimes I second guess myself, and I just don't know. And then I just jump in here, and of course all the interaction with the chat makes it so much better too. So it's good, it's fun, and then once I get talking about the fights and stuff too, man, it's just it gets me going, and we're good. But Johnny, changing your mind already? On second thought, I think Islam submit to Ian. Man, I think it's tough because I mean the only loss we've seen from Ian was a decision, and it wasn't like it wasn't crazy. So but yeah, Islam's a different monster. He's definitely a different monster, and we haven't seen a whole lot of him losing either. So, except for very early in his career, right? So, yeah, that's a tough one, but that is something to look forward to if that's what's going to wind up happening with that division. I just want to see Islam back already, and then it's been a minute since we've seen Gary, so I think it'd be an interesting fight. Definitely not a bad shout there if it happens. We'll have to wait and see. Other than that, though, we have an interesting matchup this weekend as well. Israel Adesanya versus Joe Pyfer, the older vet, that former champion, some call a legend. I don't know if you want to put him in that status yet, because I feel like he's definitely accomplished a lot, but you know, we've seen his downfalls. It doesn't take anything away from him, but a lot of people, you know, hate to call somebody a legend when they're still fighting, and you know, it's a different thing. But to me, I think Izzy is definitely Izzy's definitely one of those guys that's gonna go down in history, regardless of what his record is, and if he ever gets the belt back. I still think he was an important part of the you know, coming up and in his division, what he did for the division, and just coming over into the UFC from kickboxing and accomplishing everything he did. I think it was worth it. Who would you pick between Morales and Usman in a 5-round title eliminator? Man, that's tough because Morales is such a beast and he's young, athletic, fucking strong. But Usman, man, he's got that knowledge. He's got that wrestling ability. If his knees can hold up, we've seen him do things, hanging in there with Hamzat and shit. Like, that's something to me. I don't know if Morales has it in him. So that's one of those who shows up that day ready to go and be their best self. And if they both do, then we're going to see a hell of a fight. But if only one does, who does? Because they both have the capabilities of doing that. Showing up and showing out and being the one to overtake everything. So that's what makes that one a toss-up to me. I think I would give it a slight... I don't even want to do that. I have to go with the vet. I have to go with Usman slightly. I think there's a very good possibility for Morales to beat him. And I think I'm kind of going back on what I said before. But the more and more I think about it and the more and more I think about that matchup, I feel like Usman would probably pull that out if he can show up in the healthiest form of himself and come in as that Usman that was the champ. What's under the thing over there? I don't even know if I want to ask. Tyler Fish, what's up? Welcome in. Is Izzy the second best middleweight to date? Who would you consider the first? Is my question. You guys always ask me questions. I like to hear your thoughts. Morales never been to the 4th or 5th round. That's kind of what keeps me from flat out saying Morales would win, because I feel like it's ignorant to think that he's 100% the one that's going to come out on top. If I feel like there's 100% a chance that he can't get it done in the later rounds, and we know Usman can take people there. Anderson Silva, okay. I mean, Anderson's always been one of my favorite fighters ever. So I was just curious because some people don't say Anderson. Tyler, I don't know, man. I don't know. If you want to be a little more specific and describe, I might entertain it. But otherwise, I'm not going to fall for your baiting because I feel like that's what you're doing. Anyway, I forgot last show because I got into shit real quickly. So before I go too far, I am going to give a shout out to my sponsor and apologize for last time not doing it. But you know what? I do it every show religiously. And sometimes I miss it. So shout out to Noctane for the sponsorship. I appreciate you. I use it all the time. I've used these up so much, I don't even know if they're really going to work, but I get a little bit of it and it's all good. I did take them with me on my trip out of town. And yeah, they worked a little, so it was good enough for me, even if it's placebo at this point. But I got to get some more. I got to hit up the man and request some more because these two are about out. But that's okay. This is the most potent bottle, and it does last a good while. But I use the shit out of it, honestly. So let me take a quick whiff here. Why are there different colored caps? Oh, the red cap is the most potent. There's a black cap that is the mid-range potency, and then there's the white cap, which is the entry level. So the white cap is the one you want to try if you just want to see if you can red caps are McGregor edition. Hell yeah. That is a damn good shout right there. That's a great way to describe it. But yes, red cap's the most potent, and they also have scents, different scents you can add to it so that can you ingest the salts? Definitely do not do that. You don't want to do that for sure. Don't sniff them. Don't do any of that. Infinity said red cap is death. It isn't when it's this kind of used up, but you know what? I smelled it when I opened it, so let me see what I got. Yep, there's still a little bit in there. It got my eye a little bit, so the Ireland edition had me up for days. I couldn't sleep. You know what? That's hilarious. Yeah. So red cap, most potent. If you want to just jump right in, there you go. Just be aware it's fucking strong. If you don't want to jump right in, you can try the black cap, which is what Infinity got. And it was tough in the beginning for that one too. But the white cap, that's your entry level. You'll still get a good effect. Just won't be as strong as these. So you can get different scents, different potencies. Go check it out. Scan that QR code on the screen. Hit the link in the description below. It's always there under every video, even if I don't get to talking about it on screen like last week, or last show, I should say. Thank you to Noctane for the sponsorship. Let's see. I would put GSP, John Jones, and DJ over Anderson in the overall GOAT list. Okay. I can understand that one. I mean, I don't fully disagree. Yeah, I can see that one for sure. I think John Jones and GSP, those all make sense because you never saw them really lose in the UFC the way you saw Anderson lose. So, I mean, yeah, I know we saw GSP lose, but like that was earlier in his career. So yeah, that makes sense. DJ was just dominant overall, and John Jones arguably has never lost. So I get it. Red Cap sent me all the way to the new. Oh shit. Oh man. So yeah. Other than that, besides going out of town and all that, it hasn't been too bad of a week. And I'm just ready to go, man. We got some good fights to talk about. Like I said, Israel Adesanya versus Joe Pyfer. And Izzy has strengths that I don't know that Joe can overcome if the right Izzy shows up. If the Izzy that shows up against Imavov, no, he did well in the beginning. But then he got caught. He can't get caught like that over Pyfer with Pyfer because it's to the shadow realm is where he'll go, and that's not good. And I don't want to see that happen to Izzy. But we'll get into it here. Before we go too crazy on all that, we got to hit up all the rest of the combat sports news. I feel like it's been a minute since I've been here, even though it was only Sunday. The week felt like it flew by, but also felt like Sunday was 2 weeks ago. So, you know, that's how it goes. It's weird. I know I talk about that kind of stuff all the time, but the time just jumps around so much. And with all the things going on in the world today and everything else that's happening, and then when I go out of town, it just throws me off a little bit too. So, yeah, things are weird. Time's flying. Tyler, damn it. Anyway, let's get to combat sports news before we get to UFC Seattle, the fight night happening this weekend. Here we go. We got to get started with the announcement of the full MVP MMA, Netflix MMA, whatever you want to call it. We got that full card here finally announced. And, you know, there is some good fights that I wasn't expecting. But at the same time, I was kind of thinking we would get some more kind of bigger matches. But if you look at it, like we got JDS coming back, Junior Dos Santos versus Robelis de Spain. Like, I don't know how to think about that fight because JDS didn't look the best in his last fights. But he's still, you know, one of the most well-known fighters, you know, the former champ, all that stuff. And it's just tough to think that he's completely washed, but at the same time, he hasn't fought in a minute, right? And Robelis de Spain, we saw what he did in, Yoel's fighting? Yoel's fighting where? I did not see that. The real question, who do you rank higher in the GOAT list, Alex or Izzy? We all know Alex beats Gone. He's higher all time. Alex can't get past Cyril. Yoel, well, he was supposed to, and then he had to drop out. So I guess they re-signed him, or they rescheduled him. I didn't see that actually. Is that this weekend? Because I do know they're having one this weekend. I forgot all about that one until just a little bit earlier. But okay. Yeah, I knew that they were gonna reschedule him, but I didn't even pay attention. I don't know that. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, so Robelis de Spain, we saw what he did in the UFC. Couldn't get a win. Junior Dos Santos, obviously one of the highest level competitors in the UFC for a while, but not anymore. You know, he's older, but who knows what has he been doing, and how good of a shape is he in, and can he hold up to the power of de Spain? We saw him do well in Karate Combat, so that is something that is a possibility there too. But I feel like if Dos Santos shows up as on his A game, he could definitely put de Spain out. We've seen him lose to some people of like Austin Lane caliber, so JDS on a 7-fight losing streak. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. He didn't look the best. So has all the time. I don't think so, Tua. I don't think so. I don't think this. I mean, no, it's possible. It is possible because we have seen Dos Santos get sparked out, but and he's older now. But what kind of party favors has he been on? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's he been doing to help that aging process? I know Despain's a strong striker. He's got fucking massive power. He's a beast. But he crumbled in the UFC. He couldn't get that power off, and he let somebody like Austin Lane beat him. So did the resurgence in the karate combat space show that he, give him the confidence he needs to come into a fight like this? Or getting back into a cage, is that going to bring him some PTSD? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. So that's what I question. We haven't seen Dos Santos in a while, so there's not a whole lot to go off of except for the last shit that we saw from him. And that's a little bit disturbing, I guess you could say. But I'm still, it is what it is, and I'm interested. We also got Mohamed Mokaev versus Adriano Moraes, which is insane. I mean, Mohamed Mokaev is still undefeated. He went over to Brave CF. He was fighting over there. Exactly, Tua, for sure. Larkin and Jackson too, yep. But yeah, Mokaev went over to Brave CF, where he started his, career, and then he went back there, and, he did well. And then Adriano Moraes was in one championship, and we saw what he beat DJ. So, DJ got his get back on him, but he did beat DJ by fucking head kick on the ground, which was insane. But then, we saw what DJ did to him. And, he's a great fighter coming over from one championship. And that is a great matchup, man. I can't say that matchup is one of the ones I'm extremely interested in. And I'll be excited to watch that one for sure. Lawrence Larkin versus Jason Jackson is a great matchup as well. Lawrence Larkin having been in Bellator /PFL for a while. And Jason Jackson is a great fighter in his own right too, so that's a great matchup. What's his name? Saladin Parnassy versus Kenneth Cross is a good fight as well. Parnassy's been in KSW, I believe, but he's a great kickboxer, and he's got some skills, so that should be a decent fight as well. And then you got Aileen Pereira and Jade Masan Wong fighting each other, which is Alex Pereira's sister. So that should be interesting. Jade Masan Wong is what up, Antoine? Welcome in. Jade Masan Wong, as we know, bare knuckle boxing. She's a beast over there. Getting back into MMA. She's fought, in a bunch of different things. So, and also fights on OF with her clothes. And the clothes loose. Oh, fuck. What's wrong with me?
Bruh.
March Madness is alive and well. Yeah, I actually just watched the end of that Purdue game right before I came in here. My wife and daughter were screaming at the TV while I'm making my drink, and I'm like, damn, they're way more hyped than I am. But I was locked in and focused on this. But yeah, they're enjoying it out there. March Madness has been pretty good. Oh, fighting is amazing. Oh man, no doubt. Yeah, for sure. Arizona's on fire. Yeah. I'm hoping for the best, man. I'm rooting for them all the way, obviously, and I hope that they do well. So I hope they keep it going. Who else we got? Chris Avila, the training partner / teammate of Nate and Nick Diaz. He's going to be fighting someone to be determined later. I don't think they've made that matchup yet, but that's the only one we are in question of. And the rest of these fights, some decent fights in here. But of course, we got the 3 headliners: Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry, Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano, and Francis Ngannou versus Felipe Lins. And yes, I think who was it? What if? Imagine Lins beats Ngannou. That would be insane for Lins. He's not a horrible fighter. He left the UFC on a 4-fight win streak, and he's definitely got some skills. I don't know if he's up to the par with Ngannou, but how much has Ngannou's knockout from Anthony Joshua hurt him? What's it done to his chin? that could be any other school, but it's, oh yeah, for sure, man. I'm excited for Arizona, man. It's been a while. Tua, I don't think so. I'm rooting for AZ all the way, but Purdue looked good there at the end. So yeah, man, we'll see. This March Madness is crazy for sure. But yeah, so are these fights and these matchups, and of course we got some more words. The UFC will try to get him back. Oh, I wouldn't doubt it, Johnny. I wouldn't doubt it at all. Of course, we got some words from Ronda Rousey herself, continuing on the verbal onslaught to the UFC and everyone else. This is what happens when fighters come together and bet on themselves. Change is coming. We are not expendable. We are the business. This is the fight card for everyone. Tickets start at just $88 into a dome. Just check the link in my bio to get yours before it's too late. If you can't make it, it's streaming at no additional cost for Netflix subscribers May 16th. Thank you, MVP, for believing in us. Can't wait to prove you right. So yeah, she's throwing it out there because obviously the big thing right now is the amount of money you have to spend in order to watch a UFC fight live. Like there's some areas, some events, nosebleed seats are $400. So we're talking the cheapest seat you can get is $400, which is absolutely insane, which is why I don't even care to go to a live event. I've been to them before and I enjoyed the hell out of them, but I just can't see paying that price. We'll see if they come back to Arizona at any point in the near future, what kind of prices those will be. But for me to go to Vegas or anything like that, I just can't do it. I can't see it. I'm caught up on the stream now. Let's really dig into this, yo. This is really a UFC card outside of the UFC. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close, man. It's pretty close. How do you feel like she feels so bitter against? I said it before. I think if the UFC would have given her the money that they were asking for, they would have done it at the UFC and been all about it. But they pissed her off. She said, Hunter Campbell, you pissed off the wrong bitch. So now you're gonna feel the wrath. Is the UFC sweating it? I don't think so. Maybe they're a little bit annoyed by her talking so much shit, especially with how close her and Dana seem to be, and the fact that Dana kind of pushed her to go ahead and do this and said, go get yours. It is what it is. We just not doing that right now. But I don't know that they're too phased about it, and until some real change begins to happen spanning from this, I don't think they give a fuck. I mean, this is pretty much how they probably feel.
I don't give a fuck.
Although I think they should, because while this seems to be a one-off at the moment, if they continue to put on events like this, even if it's like once a month to get started, they're definitely going to become competition quickly. But you never know. They can say just $88, but when you pay $500 for a UFC, it's money well spent 9 out of 10 times. I don't know, man. I don't know. I've heard a lot of bad things about. I mean, here's the thing. You're going to spend $400 for nosebleed seats when you're watching ants fight in the middle of a fucking ants fight in the middle of a coaster that looks like this from where your seats are, and then you get the worst, shittiest fights you can possibly think of with the kind of cards that they've been putting together. I hate to say it, but that doesn't seem worth it to me. So that's just me on the flip side of things, right? Ronda probably don't have any money left from her UFC days. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. But Dana paid her millions during their time together. They sure did. Great point on live events, Biggie. 3 hours from the UFC Seattle card, and the seats are too pricey in my opinion. Yeah, and I mean, I've heard that a lot. But for me, these are all old fighters. Who wants that, in my opinion? How do you feel about it? Yeah, so I get it. They're all older fighters. Yeah, so UFC, okay. I know where I see where you're getting at, Antoine. And the thing is so yes, in the beginning, I was like, listen, what kind of a show are they going to put on? You know what I mean? What kind of show can they really put on with Gina and Ronda basically both being in their 40s? And, and then Ngannou versus Lins has real potential, but who knows? Because what has Ngannou done in MMA since he fought Fajeda? And that wasn't even a super crazy fight. So, I mean, he was dominant, but it wasn't anything that was too crazy. So I don't know. And then, of course, you have Nate Diaz and Mike Perry are a great fight on paper. But will they pull through? Will they come through? We saw what happened with both of them fighting against Jake Paul in the boxing ring. Now we know what Mike Perry does in the bare knuckle ring, but that's bare knuckle. It doesn't carry over to boxing because he couldn't get it done in boxing. And we saw it was kind of a piss poor performance from Nate Diaz in the boxing ring against Jake Paul. So what kind of a fight are we going to get out of them? But it's exciting on paper, in the bright lights and on the posters. That's all exciting. But the rest of this card, you know, we have some great matchups. There's nothing old about Mikhaev and Moraes. There's nothing old about that. Yeah, sure, Lorenz Larkin's a little bit older. You know, Avila hasn't really, you know, come up to the level that we thought he might. But, you know, there's a lot of interesting matchups, and I feel like it's a pretty decent card. And I feel like when it comes down to it, the UFC hasn't 327 could blow this card out of the water if it performs well, and if this card doesn't perform well. But I mean, it could be, you know, but the rest of the cards that the UFC's been putting on, the outcome of all those cards have not been great. So it sucks. So 327 I think is different, and I'm definitely looking forward to that one. And I hope that it's not so hyped up that then we're just completely let down by the performances. But I feel like with the matchups on that card, I feel like it has true potential to be a really, really great card. Braves opening day tomorrow, big hell yeah. I'm excited for that. Francis don't care about legacy, he cares about money. Well, I mean, that's true. He just wants to
I'm rich, bitch.
He just wants to be able to say that and not worry about it. But, you know, he's advocating for John Jones, who he talks shit about massively, but doesn't like to see the way that he's getting treated by the UFC right now. And yeah, he cares about money because a lot of these guys should be getting paid a hell of a lot more than they are. So he's kind of valid in that point, but he has shown a little bit of that cares too much about money to make the shit happen. But also, maybe he deserves that money, and maybe he could have been had a longer legacy and better legacy in the UFC had he been able to get a little more money. But you can't be that difficult to work with, and you know, I don't know, it's tough, man. You never know. You can kind of see this stuff that Dana talks about with Francis coming out in some of the ways that he talks. But at the same time, it's like, dude, he's just trying to get his, you know. So I don't know, like, what do we, how can we blame him in a way? Do you think this could compete with the White House card? Honestly, the top 3 fights against the top 3 fights with MVP versus UFC White House card, I think it depends on what happens. I think it depends on what happens, but I don't know that we could call that ahead of time. I don't feel like the White House card is that crazy, except I guess the 2 main fights are pretty crazy, except most people are thinking Ilia Topuria is just gonna knock Justin Gaethje out. If Justin Gaethje comes and is able to beat Ilia Topuria, legitimately beat him, like knock him the fuck out, that's gonna be insane, and people will be talking about that for the rest of the year. But if Topuria just comes out and sparks out fucking Gaethje and finishes him quickly, like he did to, you know, or like he was able to knock out Max Holloway the way what he did to Charles Oliveira, and now he could do it to Gaethje. So if he does that, everyone's gonna be like, that's what we expected. So no one's gonna care that much about it because everyone's already saying that that's gonna be what happens. And then Pineda versus Gane. Sure, if Gane beats Pineda, then that's a different story. But Pineda beating Gane is him becoming a 3-division world champion, maybe not undisputed because obviously it's for an interim title, but regardless, he wins that title in a 3rd weight class. So then we get the matchup to make it undisputed and unify, and that's exciting as hell. So those 2 fights mean something and matter. But does it match up against this MVP card? I don't know, because again, you're getting 2 women who've been out of the game for both have been out for 10 years plus. You know, and they're in their 40s. Like, it's crazy. Like, I think Ronda's 39, but you know, same at that point in the fight game. And like, what can they really do? That's the thing. What kind of fight are we going to get? And I feel like just talking about it ahead of time, you can say it's going to be trash all you want, or say it's going to be the best card in the world all you want. But I feel like this is one that is great on paper, but we have to see what happens. And I feel like we'll kind of know what we're going to be getting once it happens, and then we'll see what happens with that White House card. But I feel like if this one doesn't perform, everyone's going to automatically say that White House card is way better. The UFC knows how to do it right, and then we'll have to wait and see if it pulls through. You know what I mean? Ngannou not being a big needle mover for pay-per-view, I mean, that might be true, but you know, if his stature, just the way that he looks the part, right? Look at what he did to Alistair Overeem. You get more like that. You get him to do things like that more often. Those are the things that bring people over. Those are the things that get people excited. But the problem is can he still do that? Has he? We haven't seen him really do that. Sure, we saw him knock down Tyson Fury, and that was crazy. It was a typical knockdown in boxing. Only thing crazy about it is that we have an MMA fighter who knocked down one of the highest level heavyweight fighters in boxing. So, you know, that's what made that crazy. Otherwise, that's a run of the mill knockdown. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't even like, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I do think Francis hurt his image a little by not helping PFL Africa after saying it meant so much to him. True. The MVP ring girls are going to be off the chain. I wouldn't doubt it.
Damn, son.
I forget Francis fought Fajeda in PFL. Yeah, and that's because, it wasn't the most fantastic fight ever. Yeah, sure, he kind of took him down and beat on him on the ground. And he looked like a beast in the moment, but it was somewhat of a forgettable fight because he fought the one time in PFL, and it's like it was so long between everything. But he had so much shit going on in his life, and that's one thing I will give Ngannou with the Africa thing. It does look bad for him on that, but it sounds to me like PFL was kind of, I don't know, kind of being stupid with him too. But who knows? That's the problem. Who really knows? So there's a lot of good and a lot of bad about this card. But I do think that if it comes through and it's a great card and they start to put on more like this, I think that's what they're waiting for too. And that's why we're not seeing anything about, oh, well, we're planning on doing more and more events. The feedback from this one has been great. So we're just going to go ahead and say, we're going to definitely have more events. They're not doing any of that. This is a one-off right now as far as we all know. And that's because I guarantee they're waiting to see what happens. They want to see what kind of viewership comes in from this card. What can MMA do for Netflix? It's always about that. And with MVP, they're all about doing shit like this, especially to combat the UFC, and because they don't agree with the things that the UFC does. So there's so much behind this. It's like, are we putting it on a platform just to have it get crumbled down? You know, like a building getting detonated. You know what I mean? Like that, because that could happen. That could happen. We're building it so high up. The higher in the sky it is, the faster it's gonna fall to that ground. And we keep hyping this thing, and that's the kind of shit that we can set ourselves up to do, is fail with the promise of a great fight and how this is fantastic and everything is wonderful. It might not be, man. It might not be. So we just have to wait and see. With that being said, though, the UFC is making moves and you know, trying to get back some of that star power, and sounds like Conor's definitely going to be on for July. He said, the rumors are true. Mr. Confidence returns to save fighting again. Call your grandma. Nanny, we did it. Watch and pay me. Fuck you, pay me. You fat Irish prick. You don't have my money. I put your brain to sleep. What the fuck is he talking about? I don't know. See yas in the casinos after. The Mac loves yas all. I got love for yas all. And it's honor, it's light work, it's easy. For life and eternity, it's McGregor. Big money, Mac Daddy McGregor. I expect fawning of the highest for life. I do this fight game easy peasy. The sound of my shots off the head go bing in green dot laser form. Go BHB. Watch Divine Magic when I fight. Hey, Paramount, see you guys soon. I'm so excited. And born ready, the notorious Conor McGregor. I don't know what kind of rambling fucking bullshit that was, but
Get your fucking shit together, my God.
just when it comes to this post, bro, like what the fuck? PFL realized they agreed to give him too much money. Probably. I just think that everything that happened with Ngannou has a lot to do with what happened with his child, and then the motorcycle accident thing. There's a lot of shit going on in the backgrounds with that dude that I know affected the shit out of him. I like that he misspelled excited. I think he misspelled a lot of shit. I know it says exited. Hey guys, soon I'm excited. Oh fuck.
Another one.
Yeah, I mean this is 100% McGregor. I mean, you can't say anybody wrote this for him. This is exactly, if I could do the accent, I would do it, because it's easy to hear the accent as he's saying this, but it's insane. But yeah, so it seems like it's happening, you know. International Fight Week is what's rumored, and you know, there was this whole talk going around about fucking him and Ian Gary. I don't think that's happening. D wrote it for him. There's this whole thing about him and Ian Gary. I don't think that's happening. I think that was just Dana White misspeaking or just not being clear. I think he was just saying that when McGregor fights his fight and when Ian Gary fights his fight, that their fights individually are not going to be in Ireland or in Dublin or anywhere over there. I think that's what he was saying, but I could be wrong. I've heard this debated on a couple different podcasts and shows and stuff, but I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. And who knows? I mean, who's he talking about here? You fat Irish prick, you don't have my money. I put your brain to sleep. Who's he talking about? I don't understand that one. But yeah, who do you want Conor to fight? Well, I mean, the best thing would have been like either Chandler, because they built it up so much, and I feel like they're on the same level right now. Unless Conor's been doing some crazy training, I don't think you ever know what level Conor's gonna be on until he gets in that cage and fights. But look how long it's been since he's been in that cage and fought. You know what I mean? The last time was when he broke his leg, and it's just been such a fucking long time. All of the drugs he's been doing, all the legal battles, the personal issues, the non-training, the training, the injuries, the toe injury when he was set up to fight Chandler, like all this shit. So I feel like they should have done the Chandler fight, but it doesn't sound like that's happening because Chandler's already booked for the White House against Hoofy. Sacrificial lamb. Because I don't know that he's going to be able to handle Hoofy, but who knows? So that's already booked, so it's not going to be Chandler. Nate Diaz trilogy would have been great, but I don't know that that's going to happen now that he's on this MVP card. So yeah, who else would he fight? I heard there was talks of Colby Covington. But yeah, I don't know. Colby's not happy with the UFC right now because he didn't get on that White House card. I don't know who he would fight, man. I don't know. I know that there was rumors of things. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, the whole Protez rumor too. Obviously that's not true. Protez is lined up to fight in the fucking Apex, which is stupid. Right? That one's in the Apex? Is that right? I don't remember. I remember Bilal being in the Apex, but he should fight Jim Miller. See, I don't think they would do that because Jim Miller's just like a keep to yourself kind of dude, and then Conor's just gonna be flying off the handle, and it's not gonna be a fun back and forth of any sort. I think they're gonna put him in there with somebody who is a valid opponent for him at the moment, or make him a sacrificial lamb and give him somebody that's younger and tough, or they're gonna give him somebody that 100% can talk shit with him. Maybe not as good as him or keep up with him, but it's gonna definitely talk shit. You think Conor will win his next fight regardless of opponent? Matchmakers want him to win badly. That's true. That's true. I bet they do. He only has 2 fights left on his contract though, so they might give him somebody that's gonna be able to beat him so that he continues that hunger to come back and not try to forego that last fight, so he can go do whatever else he wants to do. So yeah, I mean, Who knows? I don't know if he wins, man. He's been gone for so long. It's another one of those questions. And is it going to be a numbered main event, even with him being unranked? Yeah, of course. He doesn't fight unless it's a numbered card. He's not going to fight on a fight night ever. He's never going to be. I mean, I highly doubt he's even going to be the co-main. I guarantee he's going to be the main. And if not, though, if he is a co-main, then it damn sure better be the fight of the century above him, because he's too big of a draw, and he's too big of a name to not have him as the main event, which is why he hasn't fought in so long, and why they haven't just booked him for whatever, why he's not on the White House card, because they can't make money off of him, and they know he brings the money. And on top of that, there's no way they can put him as the White House card main event. So that's a lot of things right there is the reason why he's not going to be on the White House card. But they need somebody for that International Fight Week, and that's what's rumored to be what it is. I swear they mentioned something about an opponent. I just can't remember off the top of my head right now who the fuck that was, but I heard it in multiple places as to who they thought it would be. And it kind of made a little bit of sense, but I just don't remember who it was. Well, oh well. But we'll see, man. But he's saying he's coming back, so all signs are pointing to McGregor coming back in July for International Fight Week. So let's move on to RAF 7, Real American Freestyle Wrestling. We got the rematch of Arman Tsarukyan versus Giorgio. I was saying Puelas, but it's Pulas. I don't even know. The take me down for $1,000 guy, basically. As we know, they fought or they wrestled, but they actually fought too after the match, because Arman went after Giorgio, and there was a whole brawl that busted out on the mats when they fought here in Arizona, or wrestled here. So that match is happening, the rematch, and apparently Raf is getting bulked up with security, saying that they can't have that shit happen again. So these guys got to be on their best behaviors, apparently. We'll see how that goes. And then you got Colby Covington versus Dylan Dennis. Now, Colby Covington is all about Raf right now. He's down on the UFC. He's not happy with them. He was on Ariel Helwani's show doing an interview, not being his outlandish, crazy, stupid self, just being somewhat normal as he can be. And would you buy tickets to a show? What show? Raf? I mean, I probably would, but if that's what you're talking about. But here's the thing with Dylan Dennis, like, he doesn't show up to shit sometimes. So is he actually going to show up? I don't think wrestling's his thing. Jiu-jitsu is his thing. Sure, that kind of goes hand in hand with wrestling at times, depending on who you are and what you've trained in and whatever. But a lot of times the wrestlers can they can kind of stop and hinder the jiu-jitsu. So, but the thing is this is a wrestling match. So Dylan Dennis coming in to just pure wrestle, that doesn't make a lot of sense. As long as the money on the line, Dan is going to do it. No, that's not true. He's had plenty of opportunities where he's had money on the line and he hasn't shown up. He's had misfits fights that he's dropped out of, and they were paying him good money. So yeah, who knows? Maybe he gets cold feet at the end. He likes to do dumb shit like that. Haven't heard much from him, but he did boxing when he didn't know. Oh my god. Yeah, look how shitty he looked. Like he looked pretty shitty in boxing. But the guy that he boxed was even worse than him, and that guy actually boxed it was a can, and it was not a great showing. So sure, he did it. That doesn't mean he was good at it. I'm just thinking he's not going to be great against an all-American. I don't like giving this guy praise, but Colby Covington has the skills in wrestling. That's the biggest point. So it doesn't matter if Dylan Dennis can step in and actually do it or not. The problem is that he's fighting a high-level wrestler that is doing nothing but wrestling, which he did for all of his life. So it's not going to turn out great for him. So we'll see what kind of antics he goes in there with. The press conference is going to be lit if he shows up, because he doesn't like to do the press conferences either. And when he does, he's always causing problems. So other than these guys, I mean, I don't know a lot more going on. Who is that? Pat Downey, I think, in the down at lower. Let's see. Let me look at. Yeah, it is Pat Downey versus Trent Hidlay. I mean, I know Pat Downey. I've heard a lot about him. He's definitely a well-known guy in wrestling. So there's that fight. Colby and Dennis going to fight backstage and at the press conference. I wouldn't doubt it. But, you know, Colby's one of those guys that talks a ton of shit, but never really wants to get into it. You know what I'm saying? Dennis, same way, unless somebody comes after him. They're both those guys that wait for somebody to come after them while they talk the most amount of shit possible. They never make the first move. And then Colby will try to sue you and get you arrested and have you catch a case for fucking punching him. Dennis will fucking complain about how this, that, or the other thing. I mean, he got knocked out by like 12 dudes. he got fucking punched like a piñata in the middle of fucking a bunch of Dagestanians with his clown shoes on. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's not going to want to get mixed up in that again. But I'm sure he doesn't think much of Colby, and he's never going to let on that he cares any more about it. So it's definitely going to be interesting. So those two fight matches being at the top of that one, if they hold up, if Dennis shows up and nothing happens to anybody else, that could be interesting. So that's happening March 28th, which is Saturday. So you can watch that. It's happening in Tampa, Florida. You have to watch on Fox Nation, but I'll be definitely waiting for the poor Colby Covington and Dylan Dennis. What the fuck? We'll be waiting to see. I'll be waiting to watch the highlights, that's for sure. So let's move on to some more MMA, and that is the PFL match happening this weekend as well, and that is going on Saturday. So a lot of combat sports. Do I like Colby as a fighter? No, I don't like Colby at all. I respect his skills. He's got great wrestling. I respect that what he did in the game, but I feel like he botched all the big fights he needed to win, except for that interim title he had for a short period of time. That I feel like, there's not too many fights that I was impressed with Colby. He has great skills in certain areas. I don't like Colby at all, really, honestly. I've been told that he's a good dude outside of things, but he just doesn't strike me as that type. So for me, it's just not my thing. So. But yeah, we got this PFL event in Pittsburgh happening. Johnny Eblen versus Brian Battle. That seems like a pretty good matchup, considering Brian Battle's been, since he got released from the UFC because of, whatever bullshit was happening. He made a name for himself over at Dirty Boxing, and he's done well over there. Obviously not the high level competition that the UFC brings, but he's fighting one of the highest level fighters in the PFL, which is Johnny Eblen, 16-1 overall. And he's definitely made a name for himself over in the PFL, and he's coming in to fight Brian Battle, or Brian Battle's coming in to fight him, coming off of his title loss to Castelo Vanstinas at the very end of round 5. He was doing well in that fight too, so he's coming to prove himself back in there as the #1 contender against Brian Battle. Which, if Battle wins, do you think Battle will ever go back to the UFC? I don't know, man. I don't know. It just depends on, a lot of these guys don't care about what's really happening over there. They just care about those 3 letters and being a part of it and making a name for themselves in that, in that organization. So PFL's never been a real competitor for the UFC, never. And I don't know that they ever could be. I mean, they're established. That's the one thing they have going for themselves. But they're looking into rebranding and all kinds of other shit, according to their CEO or whoever that was on Ariel Helwani's show. He said there's a possible rebranding coming, and they're trying to do all these other things to make it more palatable for the audience and to really get the promotion out there. So we'll see, because they've been horrible at promoting. But as far as Battle going back to the UFC, that's a toss-up, because like I said, a lot of times those 3 letters are all those guys care about. They'll deal with the money, they'll deal with the other issues. But hey, what's up, Christian? How you doing? Welcome back. So yeah, I mean, it's all a matter of what he decides. What he decides is important to him. The money, the possibility of making a little more money at the PFL. I don't know if the PFL is really paying a ton of money, because they cut back those tournament winnings by half when they did, and then all of a sudden they get rid of the tournaments that you can no longer, fight in a tournament to win $1 million or even 500,000 at this point. Now they're making it more of a clean version of, just what the UFC does, kind of. So, yeah, I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see how Battle does here after, fighting in Dirty Boxing for a couple matches that he did well in, and we'll see. And the co-main is Dalton Rosta versus Impa Kasangane, which seems like could be definitely a great matchup. Number 7 versus number 2. Impa Kasangane won a couple of those tournaments, and he was a former UFC fighter as well. He's the one that got that spinning back kick to the face, or flying back kick to the face, some shit like that from Joaquin Buckley that went viral and crazy. It was a nutty fucking knockout, that's for sure. But he's done great things over in the PFL since he's been over there, so that should be a decent matchup. Ariane Lipski De Silva, now I guess she's going by De Silva, but Ariane Lipski making her PFL debut, I believe. I don't think she's fought there yet. Yeah, this is her first fight in the PFL. She's coming off a 3-fight losing streak from the UFC after she got cut from there, or I don't know if she got cut or they just didn't renew her contract. But either way, 3 fights in a row, 2 decisions, 1 submission, and she came in overweight in her last fight as well against Kong Wang. So yeah, so I assume she got cut, and now she makes her way into the PFL, fighting Sumiko Inaba. So a couple of lookers, honestly. This chick looks pretty decent too. I meant for parlays. Oh, got you. I should have known, Christian. I should have known with you, man, that you're all about the betting. So good luck, man. I hope you do make some money on that one for sure. Alexi Pergande versus Julio Arce. That's happening in the featherweight division. What do you think the PFL has to do to compete with the UFC? A lot. They have to get their promotional things way better. Like, half the time you don't know where they're fighting, when they're fighting, or where to watch it, or who's on the card. Like, I look for posters and things to use for visuals here, and it's tough, man. It's tough to find anything. You go to their website, it's tough to navigate. There's a lot of things, man. There's a lot of things. Like, anybody that wants to compete with the UFC better at least mirror what they're doing and to the level that they're doing it in the beginning, and then find a way to make it better after you've become known enough to know that you can count on the viewership, to know where you're fighting, when you're fighting, and who you're fighting. Once that happens, just like we know for the UFC, we always know when it's going to be, we know what time it's going to start, we know all that shit. If you pay attention. The PFL, you can pay attention all you want, and it's going to be tough as fuck to know what's happening, when it's happening. You're going to know the weekend that it's happening, that there's a card that weekend. Unless you're following absolutely everything that they have out there, and even then it's tough. So I think the PFL has a lot to do to compete with the UFC, including gathering a roster that's going to make sense, but that shouldn't be too hard at the moment with the UFC. You have to make your 3 letters mean as much as the 3 letters that the UFC stand for. And I don't know, it's going to be a long time before somebody can do that, unless the UFC continues down the track that they're on right now. They're going to make it a lot easier for other people. So we're looking at 3-letter organizations that are the only ones to pay attention to right now. PFL, the PFL app is good. Nah, never messed with it. It's never, I forget they even have an app. So that might just be me, but yeah. But yeah, the 3, it's like you got to have 3 letters in order for it to be something. Like MVP, PFL, UFC. It's just crazy. They don't have good letters. Like, if you make 20K a fight on the regional scene. What do you mean, Antoine? Oh, also, if you were a fighter, would you fight on the regional scene until the age of 35 and get a shot on Dana White Contender Series? I mean, sure. I don't know. I guess if you made enough money and you can afford to, you know, or you have the what's your home life like? You know what I mean? Like, can you make your life revolve around it at that age? If you've been doing it since you were, you know, teens or early 20s, sure, I could see why. But for me, in my situation, I would have never been able to do it. But 20K a fight, sure, that would be awesome. But I highly doubt there's any guys making 20K a fight on the regional scene. But who knows? It's the letter L that throws it off. Well, they did mention that there might be a rebranding coming soon. So we'll see what 3 letters they pick after that. But who else have we got on here? Nobody really of any big names. Natan Schulte versus Jacob Kazuba. Yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot else. Josh Framed versus JL Jarrah Hussein Al Solawi. I don't know who that is, but Josh Framed, I know who that is. So yeah, you know, again, a lot of guys that come from the UFC over into here and trying to make a name for themselves over here, which is good. At least they have somewhere to go for now. But that's it for PFL Pittsburgh. You can watch that on Saturday as well on ESPN2. So far we've got RAF 7 on Fox Nation that you can watch on Saturday. All wrestling, obviously. A couple big names up at the top of that one. And then you got PFL Pittsburgh with these 2 main fights being three actually. That whole card right there is pretty damn good from what you see on this poster. But especially those top 3 fights, definitely looking forward to those. And top 4, really. The last one, I don't know those guys too well, but I know Arce for sure. So yeah, there's some good fights on there. I'm interested in that Eblin versus Battle fight, that's for sure. So let's move on to UFC, and we got UFC Seattle happening Saturday night as well. So all this is going down Saturday night. You either got to get multiple screens or you're gonna have to pick and choose what you want to watch. And that's already done for me because I don't have Fox Nation, so I won't be watching that. And I will always watch UFC over PFL, that's for sure. So I'm interested in that main event, but I'll watch for the highlights. I'll be watching UFC for sure, because I'm definitely interested in this fight, Adesanya versus Pyfer. We got Tyrell Fortune coming to the UFC. Oh yeah, he's on this card as well. So UFC Seattle happening on Saturday, and of course, you know, with the big name of Israel Adesanya at the top, fighting a powerful fighter like Joe Pyfer, which we know, you know, like how his last fight went, and you know, he fought a little different in that fight, winds up getting a submission. The fight against Kelvin Gastelum, it was okay. You know, Marc-Andre Barrio was a great TKO win for him there. You know, he got the loss to Jack Hermanson, and at least has gotten on a win streak to overcome that loss. Two bonuses in his last 3 fights too. So have I ever been to Seattle? No, I haven't. I've never even been up that way. Yeah, never even been close. So yeah, Joe Pyfer has something to prove here for sure, continuing on a 3-fight win streak while Izzy is on a 3-fight losing streak, but of course fighting the highest level of competition. And you know, it's a sad day if we see Adesanya lose his 4th fight in a row, for 1, and for 2 if he gets knocked out cold. Like, oh fuck, I don't want to see any of that happen, because Izzy's definitely one of my favorite fighters, but yeah, it just hasn't looked good for him lately, and it's been a year since he fought Imavov. So yeah, we'll see how he comes out. He seems pretty locked in and ready to go, but you know, we'll just have to wait and see. So of course we got other big fights on that main card as well. Well, good fights to watch for sure. So we'll get to that here in just a second, but before we do that, let's hit up these prelims as usual. We start from the bottom to the top, and we got to go over all of them. So here we go. Starting with the first prelim of the night, we got the women getting the night started. Alexia Tainara versus Bruna Brazil happening in the women's strawweight division. 13-1 for Tainara and 11-6 for Bruna Brazil. This should be a decent first fight. You know, last week we got the women starting off the night with a TKO win, and an exciting one at that. So let's see if we can recreate that. Tainara is on a 2-fight win streak with her her only 2 fights in UFC. She's won by submission over Molly McCann, which was a big win for her. She got a performance of the night bonus there. And then her last fight was Luma Lukbunmi, unanimous decision win on that one. Tainara knows how to move it, not gonna lie. True. But yeah, she won her Contender Series fight by decision as well. She is on quite the win streak, honestly. She hasn't lost since 2019, where she actually lost to Bruna Brazil back then in what is this organization? Thunder Fight 20. So this is actually a rematch, and she lost to Brazil by submission, by guillotine in the 3rd round. So we'll see what Bruna Brazil has for her, if she's gonna come back and hand her her second loss of her career, considering her only loss in her career is Bruna Brazil. But Bruna Brazil's coming off a loss on her own to Ketlin Souza by unanimous decision. She's 3-4 in the UFC. She's been on a win-lose streak since 2023. Or 22, I could say. She was on a 3-fight win streak, and then she lost, won, lost, won, lost, won, lost, won. So Tainara beat Molly McCann by submission, but Bruna Brazil beat Molly McCann as well by decision. So yeah, they have that in common. And besides that, yeah, Bruna Brazil beat Tainara back in the day. So we'll see what this matchup brings us for the first fight of the night on the UFC Seattle card. Next up, we got Ricky Simón versus Adrian Yanez. This has a definite potential to be a good fight for the second fight of the night. Simon, 22-7, or Ricky Simón. I'm sorry. Why am I saying Simon? Ricky Simón, 22-7, 17-6 for Yanez. It's been a minute since Yanez fought as well. Simón is coming off a loss to Raoni Barcelos back in November. He had 2 wins in a row before that. One by TKO, one by decision. He lost to Barcelos by decision. And we got Yanez coming off a decision loss to Daniel Marcos, split decision back in December of 24. So it's been over a year since he won. He had a 2-fight losing streak. He beat Vinicius Salvador by TKO, and then he came back and lost to Daniel Marcos and been out for over a year. This is a style, like the styles are going to clash a little bit on this one, I think. Ricky Simón, kind of a pressure fighter, wrestler, and he's got really great cardio. Yanez, more of a boxer, you know, kind of a chaotic fighter, and if he can keep Simón from, you know, wrestling him to death, then Yanez could definitely, you know, do some damage on the feet and, you know, really wear out Simón. But yeah, and he could clip him for sure, but we'll see if Simón gets that wrestling started early and keeps that pressure. But it has potential to be a good fight. So that's happening in the men's bantamweight division. Next up, we have Navajo Sterling versus Bruno Lopez. Navajo Sterling being undefeated at 8-0. Lopez is 14-2. Sterling is 3-0 in the UFC with all decision wins. Tuco Tucos, Ivan Erslan, and Rodolfo Bellato. So he's got 3 unanimous decision wins in all of his fights. He got into the UFC by beating his opponent by TKO in the 2nd round in the Contender Series. So, you know, he's looking to get his first finish in the UFC, but he's still undefeated regardless against Bruno Lopez, who is coming off of a loss to Dustin Jacoby by TKO back in May of last year. So he's looking to bounce back and get a win. He had a 3-fight win streak before that with a fight in LFA, and then his fight in the Contender Series, and then his first fight in the UFC. His first fight in the UFC, he won by decision. So he's looking to get his second win in the UFC over a tough opponent in Navajo Sterling. But yeah, Sterling just being undefeated, man. I mean, we'll see how hungry he is to keep that undefeated record. He's still trying to build up his hype. You know, I'm sure he's looking for a finish to get his first finish in the UFC. And Bruno Lopez is trying to get back in that win column. Lopez seems to have a little more experience and finishing ability, but Sterling is athletic. And he's a big dude, and he's definitely got some power. So if Sterling can get past Lopez, you know, especially if he finishes him, I think he's got some better competition coming up his way. But he's got to get past Bruno Lopez first, who is coming off a loss. So we'll see how that goes. And that brings us over to what the hell happened here? Okay, that brings us to Casey O'Neill versus Fernandez. Hold on, my page just did not load right. What the hell's happening here? Okay, here we go. Casey O'Neill versus Gabriela Fernandez, who's 11-3. Yeah, Casey O'Neill's a badass, man, for sure. This is happening in the women's flyweight division. Fernandez is 3-2 in the UFC. She won her last 3 fights, 2 of those being 2 of those getting bonuses, by the way, is what I was trying to say. Fight of the night against Carly Judice, which she won by split decision, and then a submission over Kong Wang. That all happened in 24. In her last fight, Julia Stolyarenko, she beat by unanimous decision. Did I like Larry Fitzgerald? Yeah, I thought he was a good player. I mean, I know he gets kind of a, you know, there's a back and forth as to, you know, there's a lot of back and forth as to, you know, what he actually did or whatever, but I thought he was a good player. And yeah, I mean, not like my favorite player or anything like that, but he was cool. What are you talking about, Tua? But yeah, Fernandez on a 3-fight win streak. Casey O'Neill coming off a win as well over Luana Santos. Before that, she had lost 2 in a row. One by decision, one by submission, and she won her last fight by decision. She also hasn't fought since 2024. So it's been a minute since she's been in there. But she's 10-2 overall and 5-2 in the UFC. So we'll see how that fight turns out. And that brings us over to the second half of the prelims. And Marcin Tybura versus Tyrell Fortune. Like, this is Tybura, man. He drives me crazy. I hate his fucking hair, for one, and for two, the way he fights is just weird. I mean, he's got skills and he's showed them off before, but I don't know. There's something about him. But he's 27-10 to Tyrell Fortune, who's 17-3. Tybura is coming off a loss to Antidelia, where he got TKO'd in the first round. Before that, he was on a 2-fight win streak with wins over Joe Nata Denise and Mick Parkin. So we'll see how he comes out against Tyrell Fortune, who is making his UFC debut. He was 1-1 in the PFL, 13-2 in Bellator, which is crazy. He was a title winner in Lights Out and True Nation, I think that says. Oh, Rough MMA. What the fuck is that? Anyway, sorry, but he is on a 3-fight win streak coming into the UFC. All TKO wins, 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third. He hasn't lost since 2024, and he's coming in to make his UFC debut against Marcin Tybura, who is a vet. He's had a lot of fights, and you know, it's definitely it definitely could be a chaotic fight. And Tybura he's ranked and he's a vet, but you know, Fortune is stepping in as a replacement, and he has credentials, as we saw in Bellator. He's been champion in other organizations. I think that he has a good chance against Tybura, especially if they get in a striking war. So we'll see what this fight has to offer. It could be a banger. Next up, we got Chase Hooper versus Lance Gibson Jr. And, you know, Chase Hooper is just one of those guys that's a little bit, he just confuses you a little bit. Like, you know, he kind of has awkward striking. He has really good submissions. He's really good. His ground game is really good. I mean, Gibson is pretty well rounded, but he's not, you know, he's not real proven in the game yet. I think if Hooper gets it down to the ground, he's you know, he's definitely dangerous down there. But if Gibson keeps it standing, he can be disciplined enough to, you know, land some good shots on Hooper. We've seen Hooper battle on the feet a little bit, but, you know, it seems like his striking is improving. He's 8-4 in the UFC. He's coming off a TKO loss to Alexander Hernandez, tough opponent, in the first round. So before that, he was on a 3-fight win streak with wins over Slava Claus by submission, Clay Guida by submission, and then Jim Miller by decision. He got a performance of the night bonus against Clay Guida. So, you know, 3-fight win streak, comes back and loses to Hernandez, a tough opponent, got TKO'd there. Gibson's decent on the feet, so that might be where he wants to keep it and maybe be able to catch Hooper like Hernandez did. But if Hooper gets him to the ground, it's going to be a tough one for Gibson. So Gibson is coming off of, I believe, a win. Oh no, he's coming off a loss to King Green. I forgot he lost to him. For some reason, I thought he won. It was a split decision, so it was close. So he's 0-1 in the UFC with a loss to King Green. You know, a vet, still skilled. He's got, you know, he still has skills. And you think Chase Hooper can still achieve championship glory? I don't know, man. He doesn't seem like that type. I feel like he you know, he can make his way up the ladder, but I don't see him winning the really big fights. I don't know that he has that kind of a game. So, you know, anybody could wind up shooting up the ranks and getting a win to put him in a championship fight, and then, you know, pulling it off. But that could happen to anybody. But so you can't really count anybody out. But the thing is the writing's on the wall with a lot of these guys. Whether they change it up and get better, I mean, that's always the question. So, I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. Next up, we got Bahamondes versus Musayev, Tofik Musayev, and this is in the lightweight division. A lot of these Hooper versus Gibson, Bahamondes versus Musayev, and the next fight, McKinney versus Nelson, the first fight on the main card, all lightweight fights happening in a row, which is interesting. Ignacio Bahamondes, 17-6 overall. Musayev is 22-6. Bahamondes is 6-3 in the UFC, coming off a loss to Rafael Fiziev by decision. Baja Blast. Before that loss, he was on a 3-fight win streak with 3 bonuses: TKO against Gallegos, TKO versus Torres, and a submission win over Turner. Those are some big wins for Bahamondes. And then he lost to Fiziev by unanimous decision. So, you know, that's another tough opponent. His other loss before that was to Ludovic Klein, another tough one. And by decisions, if he's winning, he's finishing. So that's something to look for against Musayev, who's 22-6 overall, coming off of a loss to Miktabek Orobai, another tough opponent, man. These guys are fighting some decent names. He lost by submission to Orobai back in June of last year. And so he's 0-1 in the UFC. He was 1-1 in Bellator and 7-1 in Ryzen. This could be a banger right here, because these guys definitely have some finishing. You know, they have some finishing abilities. Bahamondes, he has a size and reach advantage at lightweight overall. Plus, you know, he throws a lot of volume and striking. Musayev is older, but, you know, he's efficient. He's dangerous, and especially early on in the fight, you know, he could definitely be super dangerous early on. If Bahamondes uses his length correctly and you know, keeps a good pace on Musayev, and hinders that explosiveness of Musayev, then, you know, it could turn into a fun striking match, and could definitely live up to his name as the featured bout in the prelims. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm definitely looking forward to that one for sure. 6'3", 155. What? Oh man. Here we go. Let's get into this main card. And this is a banger as well, I feel like, or could be. There are not really any boring fights when it comes to Terrence McKinney. Whether he wins or loses, it always happens in the first round. Anorexic. But yeah, no matter what happens, it happens in the first round. As you can see, he's never gone to decision. I mean, he's 17-8 overall, 7-5 in the UFC, 8-5 by KO TKO, 9-3 by sub, 0-0 by decision. He's coming off a loss, but 0-0 by decision when you have what, 25 fights is crazy. Believe me. He's fighting Kyle Nelson, a little bit older, 17-6, similar records there, 5-5 in the UFC, 6-3 by KO TKO, 4-1 by sub, 7-2 by decision. He wins most of his fights by decision, but Terrence McKinney never really goes to decision. So Terrence McKinney is one of those crazy guys who, you know, got caught up when he was younger doing all kinds of drugs and shit. He was like, you know, frying on acid and stuff, and wound up acid and mushrooms and who knows what else, and wound up like getting tased by the police, and it was a crazy sight. It was all on video. It was nuts. They did on him like when he took drugs. Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, I did see it. It was crazy. I heard his story on a podcast once, and then I saw that they did that, and I watched that video. It was fucking nuts, man. Watching him like against that wall looking all whacked out was crazy. I hope yeah, so Terrence McKinney, he's explosive as hell, man, and he can get it done quickly, but also he leaves himself open to a lot of damage. So if someone takes advantage of that, as his last opponent Chris Duncan did, and but Duncan got him by submission, Anaconda, in the first round. But here's what I'm talking about: his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, his last 4 fights in a row, his last 5 fights. Lost to Chris Duncan by submission in the first round, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Beat Vyacheslav Borges or Slavaclaus. He submitted him in the first round, 55 seconds in by guillotine. Damir Hadzovic, Terrence won TKO, 2 minutes and 1 second into the first round. Lost by TKO to Ribovics, 37 seconds into the first round. Beat Marotte 20 seconds into the first round by TKO. 6 fights in a row by first round finish, whether he wins or loses. And then it just goes into the second round. I don't think he's ever been to a third round. No, never been. Oh, maybe way back in the day in a different organization, and it was only 43 seconds into the third round. So yeah, he's never been into the third round in the UFC ever, which is crazy. So we'll see what Kyle Nelson can do. Oops, what did I just do? Kyle Nelson is coming off a win. He's 5-5 in the UFC, and he beat Matt Favola by decision. So his last loss was to Steve Garcia, where he missed weight and then lost by TKO to Steve Garcia. But as we know, Steve Garcia is fighting on the White House card against Diego Lopez, and Garcia's on a good run right now. So, I mean, that was in 2024 when he lost to Garcia. So probably, you know, can't blame him for that one. That's his only loss in between 1, 2, 3, 4 wins. So he's 4-1 in his last 5. 3 of those by decision, 1 by TKO, and then he lost by TKO. So yeah, we'll see if he can jump on Terrence McKinney and beat him to the punch in that first round, because if not, Terrence McKinney's great at finishing things in that first round. Yeah, Kyle Nelson though, he's got 6 KO wins and 7 decision wins. So, you know, it's just one of those things where he goes to decision more, but can he take Terrence McKinney past the first round because of how McKinney fights? 16 first round finishes is insane. Never gone to a decision, like I said, and you know, his average is like 2 to 3 minutes per fight. So he comes out like he's being chased by the police again. I think he's got that ingrained in his mind. So if McKinney lands early, it's definitely going to be him getting the win, unless he gets caught by Nelson in a sub or a KO, because he gets finished in the first a lot as well. But you know, can Nelson survive the first round? because if he can, that says a lot about him, and that could possibly get him that win, but it might not be the most exciting. McKinney just is super explosive, but he fades fast, and if he doesn't get that early finish, then who knows what we're going to get out of him. So I think this is going to be a fast and furious fight, and we'll see what happens, who comes out on top. And that brings us over to the next fight, which is Mansour Abdul Malik versus Yusri Belgari. Mansour is an exciting fighter as well. Undefeated with 100% finishing rate, 7 KOs, 2 submissions. Crazy. 3-0 in the UFC, 9-0 overall, and never been to decision either. He's on a 3-fight win streak, technically a 9, but he's just explosive too, like McKinney, except he doesn't lose like McKinney does. He has the finishing power of McKinney. He has the explosiveness and the chaotic early wins and no losses. So it's kind of a same but different type fighter. But this one's happening at middleweight, and I'm trying to get back here so I can see who his last wins were over. 3-0 in the UFC with wins over Antonio Tricoli by sub, Nick Klein by TKO, and Dusko Todorovic by TKO. And those were 2 in the first round, 1 in the second. He had an overturned fight against Cody Brundage. I don't remember what that was about. But yeah, it doesn't look like he's been to the third round ever either. So 2 fights in a row with guys who are explosive and do not go past the second round, if the first even. So that's going to be what's going to be working in Abdul Malik's side. And we'll see if Belgari can, do what I was talking about Kyle Nelson having to do, which is withstand that first round. Because if Malik comes out going nuts on him, he's got a great chance of winning. But Belgari's a former Glory kickboxer, and he's got high-level striking. He's 9-3 in MMA, 1-0 in the UFC, 7-0 by KO TKO, so he's never been finished. They both have similar records there. No finishes or never been finished on the ground, and 2-3 by decision. So he doesn't even have a good winning record by decision. So fast and furious early finishes on this one as well, I feel like, because with a Glory kickboxer coming out and Malik trying to strike in an explosive manner against Belgari, I think that's gonna be this is gonna be a banger. So I think the technique and the experience goes to Belgari, but the pure explosiveness, athleticism, and finishing power goes all to Malik. So which one's gonna get it? Is anybody gonna mix in any wrestling? Who's gonna overwhelm who? Is it gonna be a technical battle, or is it just gonna be an all-out fucking war? So I think that's what's gonna make this one exciting. So I'm pretty excited about this fight as well. And that's 2 in a row to start off the main card that seem like they have a lot of potential to be really great fights. So with Malik having finished all of his fights either by TKO or submission, I mean, you can get a little bit of everything. He's only got 2 subs though, so we're looking more at KOs than anything, which is even more exciting. So we'll see how this goes, what kind of a fight we get out of it. But I think these 2 fights are going to be great to start off this main card. And that brings us over to Julian Erosa versus Loren Douglas, I think is how you say his name. I wanted to say Larian, but I think they said Laren. But yeah, he's making his UFC debut. 13-5 overall, 7-2 by KO TKO, 2-2 by sub, 3-1 by decision. He is on a 5-fight win streak outside of the UFC, making his debut against Julian Erosa. Look at all the fights for Erosa at 36 years old. 31-12 is crazy. But he's 9-8 in the UFC. That's tough. 12 wins by KO TKO though. 7 losses there. 14-0 by sub, which is impressive. 5-5 by decision. He is coming off a loss. 43 pro fights is nuts, man. He's somewhat of a chaotic fighter, 12 KO wins is a lot too, but look at 14 submissions. I just, those numbers get me. He lost to Melquizael Costa, but he was on a 3-fight win streak before that. He lost to Costa by decision. He beat Darren Elkins, Christian Rodriguez, and Ricardo Ramos, all by finish. 2 submissions and a TKO, all in the first round, before he fought Melquizael Costa to lose by decision. But he got a fight of the night bonus. So that was a fight of the night that he was just involved in back in May of 25. So he's looking to, you know, see what Laren Douglas has for him here at UFC Seattle. What up, Tyler Betts? Welcome back. Appreciate you for coming back. We're just into this main card, 3 fights in. Laren Douglas, 30 years old, coming into the UFC, making his debut. He was 4-1 in the LFA. He won his Contender Series fight in September of last year by TKO in the first round, 36 seconds in, over Cam Teague. All of his last 5 fights have all been wins by TKO, none of them going past the second round. So we got a lot of explosive finishers in all of these fights in the main card so far, which is crazy. Even his loss was in the second round by TKO. So yeah, he's had a lot of big fights with a lot of big wins, and he's on a 5-fight win streak, all finishes. This has potential. I think Douglas might come in and handle Erosa on the feet, but if Erosa can get it to the ground, he's got those 14 wins by submission on the ground. Erosa's got the experience, you know, the edge in the experience for sure, but Douglas, man, his record just shows so much ability for being dangerous and finishing power. But Erosa gets hit a lot too, so that's a big problem for him, because if Douglas can get in there and catch Erosa before Erosa can get it to the ground, you know, I think that's going to be where this fight gets interesting, if it goes to the ground. But I mean, Erosa's got 12 wins by KO TKO as well, but within 43 fights, he's got to have a decent amount of wins by that. If not, he wouldn't be a decent fighter, really. 14 wins by sub, though, is impressive as hell. So I think it's got to stay on the feet for Douglas. Otherwise, Erosa might catch him on the ground. I just see Erosa gets hit a lot, and Douglas can put your lights out on the feet. So I'm thinking it's going to be a great debut for Douglas, in my opinion. But that's it for that one. That brings us to Michael Chiesa versus Nico Price. And this one is a retirement fight for Michael Chiesa. So this is his last fight in his hometown. Technically, he's in Seattle. I believe that's where he's from, but if not, that's where he grew up, or whatever you want to call it. Either way, it's like the best place for him to retire. But he's fighting the guy who likes to mess up people's retirements, like he did to Robbie Lawler, which kind of sucked. Oh no, I'm sorry. Did Robbie beat him? No, he beat Robbie Lawler. Yeah, for sure. That's right. For a second there, I was thinking that Robbie won that fight, but he didn't. Nico Price TKO'd him, I believe. Why will it not? Okay, there we go. Yeah, let me double check on that, but I'm pretty sure. But I mean, Nico Price, he is on a 3-fight losing streak, but he lost to Themba Gorimbo, Jacoby Smith, and Nikolai Veretennikov. 1 decision, 1 submission, 1 TKO there. No, he lost to Robbie Lawler. Okay. I don't know why I thought he beat Robbie Lawler, but he didn't. He lost to him. Thank God. Why was I remembering it that way? Because I remember that was the year, that was a couple years ago when I was in Vegas for that. So yeah. Okay. Anyway, good. I'm glad I remembered that wrong. Yeah, there we go. Antoine. I don't know why I was thinking of it the other way around. So this might be a good fight for Chiesa then. Yeah, it was Robbie's fight. That's why I was like, am I remembering this right or wrong? Because yeah, I didn't think he spoiled his retirement fight. So maybe this is the best opponent for Michael Chiesa, with Price being on a 3-fight losing streak and Chiesa being on a 3-fight win streak. It's almost like they set him up for this one in a good way. A lot of times you never know. They could be putting him out, you know, to build someone else's name. But, you know, he's been a part of the desk for a while now. And, you know, they're definitely giving him a good way to get out of there. He's on a 3-fight win streak with his a win over Tony Ferguson by submission, Max Griffin by submission, and then Court McGee by unanimous decision was his last fight in June of last year. So before that, he had 3 losses in a row. So let's hope that this doesn't follow that pattern, because that would mean he would lose here. So Nico Price isn't like somebody you can just run through, but I do feel like this is a better matchup for Chiesa. Nico's shoulders are crazy. Yeah, it's kind of funky, but look how tanned Chiesa is. It's weird. It almost looks weird. I don't know. But yeah, 14. I mean, he's 0-1 by KO TKO, so we're not expecting a stand-up war here for Chiesa. But he does have 12 wins by submission, 7-1 by decision. Do you think Nico continues fighting on the regional scene until he retires? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think he is one of those guys that, like, I guess he is one of those guys that just doesn't seem like he's gonna retire soon, no matter what he's been. You know, Chiesa sub is a lock, no doubt, Tyler. That's pretty much, I mean, that's pretty much what you can count on here. Because yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Did I? Well, anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's really not much more you can think. Will win via ground and pound. I mean, maybe. He just doesn't have very many finishes other than submissions. So yeah, it's one of those fights. It kind of makes sense that he's just like retirement in front of the home crowd, and you know, I think he's gonna show up to really get it done. And with the advantage he has with the grappling and submissions and stuff, I don't see how he doesn't get this one done, unless Nico just happens to catch him. Because, you know, Nico is kind of wild and has the potential to catch him with a punch. So, but yeah, that's that fight. That brings us over to the women. We got Alexa Grasso versus Macy Barber. I mean, I am interested in this fight, and that's because, you know, Macy Barber's been on, you know, making her way up, and she has been doing really well. And I feel like, you know, she's on a 7-fight win streak. Like, that's crazy. But Alexa Grasso being a former champ, I just feel like in her last fights, she just hasn't looked very impressive. She's on a 2-fight losing streak. She's never been finished on the feet. She's 2-1 by submission, but most of her fights are won by decision, which is most of the women. But 8-5 in the UFC, former champion, as I said. Macy Barber's never been finished, period. She's only lost 2 fights by decision. Old looking 32. This is not the best picture of her. A lot of people are obsessed with Alexa Grasso, thinking she's like hot, like one of the hottest girls in the UFC. This is not a great picture. Look her up on her Instagram and shit. She does look way better than this picture makes her look. The only thing is that I feel like she looks like a robot. Like she just has one of those, like, she just has a robotic looking face. It's kind of weird. She almost looks like a wax figure statue. But a lot of people think she's like one of the hottest girls in the UFC. I feel like she's got some good looks, but something weirds me out about her. I don't know what it is. Macy Barber, crazy how Macy's only 27. Yeah, she was trying to be on track to beat to become the youngest champ in the UFC and beat out John Jones's record, but then she had injuries and stuff like that. Yeah, Antoine, I can almost guarantee that Alexa will be a Hall of Famer for sure. But Macy, you know, she was trying to become the youngest champ. It didn't happen. Android. Yeah, I mean, that makes yeah. But Macy, yeah, she got injured. Those injuries plagued her. I mean, remember, she was the one that dropped out of the fight like seconds before she was supposed to walk out, which was crazy. I know she had a lot of health issues and stuff, and then she finally comes off of all of those and decides to go under the knife and catch herself some bolt-ons. Hey, don't get me wrong, it's all good with me, but you know, it's like with all those health problems, man, and then to do that after you're finally past all of those, was kind of crazy. But she's on a 7-fight win streak, so you know, she's doing well. She's bounced back. She seems like she's ever improving. She's definitely aggressive when she fights, and yeah, it's like I think she has the grappling advantage over Grasso, but Grasso probably has the advantage. I don't know, man. It's like I heard somebody say that Barber's like the better, like the better sister in if they were related. Like Barber's the younger sister coming up to do better than her older sister or some shit like that. But I don't know. I think Grasso's more technical, but Barber's just hungry, and she's just had better fights recently. And you know, with all the experience Alexa Grasso has, Barber's just on a streak, and I feel like she's on a hot streak right now that is just doing much better for her than Alexa has been able to overcome in her past couple fights. She lost to Natalia Silva by decision, and then she lost her title to Valentina Shevchenko before that. So you know, she had those wars with Shevchenko where she beat her, they went to a draw, and then she lost to Shevchenko. So are you gonna see that MK movie? MK, are you Mortal Kombat? And if not Mortal Kombat, I'm not sure what you're talking about. But I didn't even know that. What are they coming out with, a new one? I'm not even sure. you gotta fill me in. But it's probably something totally different. I'm just guessing. But yeah, so Alexa Grasso off a 2-fight losing streak, and Macy Barber on a 7-fight win streak. I'm giving the edge to Barber here. I just don't know that Alexa Grasso has what it takes to slow down what the streak that Macy Barber's on. But I could be wrong. Grasso is a former champ. She has beaten the likes of Valentina Shevchenko. So, you know, but in the women's division, I mean, Shevchenko's the top tier, and I think that she's on her way to kind of falling off. Okay. No, I hadn't even seen any. I thought I heard something about that. That's probably why it was in my head. But yeah, I mean, I'd give it a shot. I like the old one. It was a little bit cheesy here and there, but it was still good. Can't be Mortal Kombat, man. I like it. Yeah, I just feel like Barber is on that track right now that she can't get derailed, even by a former champ. So we'll see how it goes. I'm interested. This one's not, I don't think it's going to be as much of a banger as the rest of these potentially could be, but definitely an interesting fight. Could be a technical battle. We'll see who possibly gets finished first on the feet, and if Grasso can finish Barber at all, because she's never been finished. And that brings us to the main event. Would you actually play it at arcades? Oh, hell yeah, I would. Mortal Kombat was one of my favorite games, for sure. I still play it if I see it somewhere. We have one of those old school arcade areas that's a bar as well here in Arizona, and yeah, I was just there actually last weekend, but I didn't really play any games. We were kind of in and out. Too many drinks sometimes for some people, but it's all good. It was like end of the night anyway. We just stopped in. We didn't have nowhere else to go at the moment. We were gonna get one more drink there, but we wound up leaving instead. So all good. We still had a good time. But yeah, Mortal Kombat's a fun game. So we got Israel Adesanya versus Joe Pyfer for our main event. My favorite character, I would say Scorpion. I just love the being able to throw out the dagger on the you know, the the dagger on the thing. What the fuck was that thing called? I can't remember. I just always remember, get over here. I like Sub-Zero too, but yeah, I always played with Scorpion. He was just the guy. Mine was Cyrax. Oh yeah. Okay. What was the other dude? Radon? With the fucking lightning in the hat? Was that his name? Radon? That's sticking with me. I think that's what it was. But yeah, that guy was cool too. I just like Mortal Kombat altogether. Anyway, Adesanya versus Pyfer. Like I was saying earlier, man. I mean, Adesanya is one of those guys that, I mean, his striking, he's got elite striking when it's on point. Oh, got you. I remember that one. What was I saying? Yeah, if Adesanya shows up like the Adesanya of old, which he sounds like he's trying to hype himself up to get there. He wants to be, yeah, Raiden. Oh, thank God I was right. I didn't think I was remembering that right. It's one of those old school memories that it's like, it sounds right, but was it? But yeah, Adesanya is on a 3-fight losing streak, but he's fought, you know, that 3-fight losing streak is not your normal opponents, man. So it's tough to hold that against him, but it is a 3-fight losing streak regardless. Sean Strickland, where he lost the title, Dricus Du Plessis, he lost fighting for the title again, and then Nasruddin Imavov, who he fought last. He got man, he got decisioned, submitted, and then TKO'd. So it progressively got worse for him. So let's hope that means he got all of it out of the way, and now he's coming back to get that win, and that would be awesome. Joe Pyfer's a great fighter. I mean, be Joe Pyfer is what Dana White always said. We've seen a different side of him a little bit here and there, kind of a more frustrated and you know, uglier side of him a little bit, but you know, he's had a little bit of things to be pissed off about. The Mexico thing though didn't play well for him, and I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I can't hate on the dude. We've seen the shit happening in Mexico, so I mean, I get it a little bit, but you know, Izzy's last win was in 2023, which is crazy. But that was a fantastic, crazy ass win against Alex Pereira, where he beat him for the title again and did that insane, you know, celebration. But, you know, he's on a 3-fight losing streak right now. He's never submitted anybody. He did say in his last fight that that's what he was looking to do, was be able to get that one submission before he retires. You know, everyone's talking about, you know, all they can talk about is how much longer is Izzy going to fight? How many more fights are we going to get out of Izzy? And he seems to be focused on just getting back in that win column and becoming the Izzy of old again. Can he do it though? You know, the way he's been getting hit, the way he got dropped by Imavov, you know, he got dropped by Strickland. I don't remember if Du Plessis dropped him at all, but I know, you know, Strickland definitely did, and then Imavov did too, and it didn't even seem like the biggest, craziest punch. So, you know, as I don't want to say anything that he's lost his chin, but the problem is with when he's been dropped by those punches, while Imavov is big and you know, he's got power, but Pyfer's got a different kind of power. So, you know, Adesanya's not going to be just doing the drunk dance after getting hit by Pyfer. If he gets hit like Imavov hit him, he's going to go to sleep. And I don't want to see that happen. But that's just me being biased because I like Adesanya. I have for a long time. But, you know, I don't want to see it happen. But if it does, I mean, there's potential because Pyfer has the power, he has that kind of power in his hands. So he's 9-1 by KO TKO, 4-1 by sub, and 2-1 by decision for Pyfer, and he's on a 3-fight win streak. He's 6-1 in the UFC, and you know that one loss was to Jack Hermanson, where everyone called fraud check and shit. But you know, he hasn't been the explosive fighter that he was before that, since he, you know, that fight against Jack Hermanson. He has gotten one finish since, or two. No, he's gotten 2 finishes. TKO'd Marc-Andre Barrios, where he got a bonus. He decisioned Kelvin Gastelum, wasn't the best of fights, but was okay. And then got a bonus against Abus Magomedov for performance of the night with the submission. So, you know, he's got underrated wrestling and grappling. I think if he pulls it out, he can do some damage with it. You know, he's got better takedown average than Adesanya for sure. But Adesanya's striking is so skilled. but you know, just him having been on the 3-fight losing streak is what's tough and what's questionable. And I'm just wondering if he can get it done. You know, as we see, I put that picture on purpose because that was his last win, and it's like, you know, it's just such an iconic picture. It's crazy. But you know, Pyfer catching Gastelum there with a big punch. You know, Gastelum is just one of those big-headed, hard-headed dudes that it's hard to get out of there. But Pyfer put some punches on him for sure. Do you think lose Israel Saturday night, win or lose? What? I think Israel is just looking for the right moment to exit, and we got to look at who he's losing to. Oh, I see. Do you think we lose? Okay. I'm laughing because yeah. I'm laughing because it didn't show your one, and I think because of his first name and what's happening in the world right now, maybe it skipped that one. That's why I was confused. I'm like, why is it not showing up? Okay, anyway, I don't think he retires. I don't think he does. I don't think he's going to retire off a loss like that. And I think as long as the UFC gives him a chance, he's going to come back and try to get out on a win. If he loses, I think the next fight he fights, he will try to fight for a win and then retire. But if he wins, I think he's going to try to put together a run and see how far he can take it. And maybe when he loses after getting a couple more wins, maybe he calls it then. But I don't think there's any way he retires this Saturday unless he gets knocked out, wakes up and has a change of heart. But I doubt it. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, it's power versus technique versus experience and youthfulness, win streak versus losing streak, all that shit. So it could be interesting, and I'm excited for it. And I feel like this main card is actually a lot better than I thought it would be now that I've run it all down, all in, you know, all out in front of me. And I feel like this has potential to be a really good card. So I'm excited for it. Let's move into, you think you'll stream on? No, I don't. I usually can't because then I would just never do anything on Saturdays. And yeah, I don't think I'll be streaming. I usually only stream the fight nights if I have absolutely nothing else going on and I can without affecting anything, or it's a daytime, you know, or it's a numbered event. Really, I don't usually stream fight nights unless they're like during the day or in the morning, just because I always have stuff going on. This Saturday for sure I have something going on, which sucks because I really want to sit down and watch these fights, but it's okay. You know, I'm celebrating somebody's birthday, so I'm not gonna, you know, I'll have my phone in my hand, but I won't be able to watch it closely. I'll have to go back and rewatch. So I definitely can't stream this weekend. But yeah, I'll be excited to watch them for sure. Let's see what the Fight Wheel predicts for us real quick before we get out of here. The Fight Wheel went 1-5 last week, which is horrendous. So yeah, a lot of birthdays in March, man. It's crazy, but my wife's being the most important though. No, it's a friend of mine that we hang out with sometimes. So yeah, they invited us to the birthday party, so we're definitely gonna go. And yeah, we always have fun with them too, so it'll be cool. Let me get this Fight Wheel here going so we can get the fuck out of here. I just realized what time it was too, but I had a good time talking. It's been a good show, I feel like, and appreciate you guys for the interactions. Please make sure you like this video before we get through the rest of this here. Just like it while you're here, while you got a minute, while I'm setting up this Fight Wheel. Go hit that like button for me. I'd appreciate that. If you're not subscribed already, please do that as well. Otherwise, if you're watching this later after the live, make sure you hit that like button as well. Leave a comment if you have something to say about anything going on. If you have anything to say about any of the topics or anything like that, predictions on fights, leave it all in the comments. I appreciate that. What do you rate the card 1 through 10? I'll give this one a solid 7, honestly. We'll go 6.5, 6.5. We'll give it that. Let's get this Fight Wheel going though. Here's your Fight Wheel prediction. 6 fights. And we start with Yusri Bulgari to beat, to beat Mansour Abdul Malik. That's not looking good for the Fight Wheel right away because Malik has all those first round finishes. Jesus, let me spell this correctly. Garoui. So Belgari to beat Mansour Abdul Malik. That is a tough first one to start with because I'm not sure that that's going to happen. But he, you know, high level kickboxer, he's got experience, so we'll see. Next up, do y'all wake up for the China cards at midnight like UFC Macau? Sometimes it depends. It depends on what's going on during that time. Julian Erosa to beat Loren Douglas. I don't think that's happening either. Holy shit, the fight was gonna go like 0-6. Price. Oh, wait a minute. It stopped on Douglas? Wait a minute, that's not even right. Douglas versus McKinney. What am I doing? Hold on. I screwed this all up. Nico Price. Michael Chiesa. Who did I lose here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Kyle Nelson versus Terrence McKinney. Nico Price. The wheel needs some salt. Yeah, no shit. What did I do, man? Because I okay, hold on. Let me see. Erosa. Oh, Julian Erosa to beat Douglas. That's what it was. Okay. I don't know why. I saw Nico Price and that's where I got it messed up. Okay. So Erosa to beat Douglas. I don't think that's going to happen. Where is that one? There we go. Holy shit. Okay. We got that out of the way. 2 down, 4 to go for UFC Seattle. Adesanya versus Pyfer. And we got the co-main event. And the wheel says Alexa Grasso to beat Macy Barber, which is not out of the realm of possibility, but I don't see that happening either. My prediction would be Barber to get that win. So for me, I kind of disagree with the fight wheel altogether right now, but not 100% on that Belgari fight. But the other two, I think, are completely wrong. We'll see what else. Terrence McKinney to beat Kyle Nelson. That's a little more like it. I would have guessed that for sure. So that could be a fun one and a quick finish. That's Kyle Nelson. Get that out of there. 2 more fights left. The main event, and then Nico Price versus Michael Chiesa, the retirement fight. Oh shit. Joe Pyfer to beat Izzy. That's definitely a possibility, unfortunately. I hope that one's incorrect, but that is the fight wheel prediction. So we got 1 fight left. Will Michael Chiesa get his retirement win? Have you seen the fan-made AI promo of Strickland? Oh yeah, that shit was actually dope. Hopefully Izzy wins. Yeah, for sure. Nico Price to beat Michael Chiesa and ruin his retirement. I don't know that that'll happen. So I'm hoping that most of these are incorrect, because that would make me a little happier than if they were all correct. So you got Belgari beating Mansour Abdul Malik, Julian Erosa to beat Loren Douglas, Alexa Grasso to beat Macy Barber, Terrence McKinney to beat Kyle Nelson, Joe Pyfer to beat Izzy Adesanya in the main event, and then Nico Price to spoil the retirement of Michael Chiesa and get the win there. Those are your fight wheel predictions for UFC Seattle. I like the promo. I just wish he used someone besides DDP as one of the bodies. I hated that they used fucking Robert Whittaker as one of the bodies. That pissed me off. But yeah, I know, man. I appreciate all the combat sports you covered this evening, Biggie. Plus the Seattle fight card. Great content. Thank you, 78 Northwest. I appreciate you as always for jumping in and interacting with me. And thanks for all of the good words. Appreciate that. Israel fought like every 5 pay-per-views. Yeah, I'm hoping that Izzy comes out with a win, man. I really do. I like Joe Pyfer, but I think he's gonna have plenty of opportunities to do big things in the future. Let's give Izzy this one. Not give it to him. Let's hope that he wins this one and finishes out his career like he wants to. But other than that, yeah, I appreciate all you guys for all the interactions and jumping into the podcast and checking it out. So I appreciate you guys. And make sure you like this video. Like I said, subscribe if you haven't already, if you like what you saw, and leave a comment if you're watching this later after the live is over. Leave a comment down below, your predictions for the fights, what you thought of the show, anything you want to leave down there. Just, you know, throw some comments in there. It always helps me out, as well as the likes, and obviously the subscribes would be awesome as well. But if you guys could do any or all of that, that would be awesome. I'd appreciate it, and I appreciate all you guys for being in here. You know, most of you are in here all the time, and that's always fun. And I appreciate all the interaction, because it's what helps keep me going and makes it fun for me. So where are we going for your friends? Oh, it's I think we're having it at their house, but they're doing some fun stuff over there, so should be good. Yeah, thanks, Infinity. Appreciate you. Everybody go check out Infinity's interview from earlier today as well, because that is something good to watch in general, but also if you like making content of any sort. Storm has really good ideas and very motivational, so it was a fun one. So go check that out. Infinity did a great job. Watch the Braves game, Big E. Okay, stay tuned for Big E reverse interview. Yes, and we are going to do that reverse interview. We're going to set it up. Me and Infinity will set it up, and I'll let you guys know. And yeah, we'll get that going sometime here in the near future. All right, so thanks for all the support. Thanks for interacting and jumping in, guys. Appreciate you all. That's it for me. I'm out of here. Take it easy. Peace.